You wanna fuck with me? Okay. You wanna play games? Okay. I'll play with you. Come on. Okay. You wanna play rough? Okay. No. Say hello to my little friend!
Sometimes the simplest ideas are the best ideas. For example, what if someone like Tony Montana from Scarface found themselves inexplicably in the middle of a demonic invasion? Oh, and don't forget high off their faces on cocaine. Well, of course, it would lead to high degrees of rage-fueled violence and swearing. And of course, all weaponry would adhere to the most fine traditions of 80s excess, that being loud as fuck. And let's not forget the muzzle flashes. We love those big, overblown muzzle flashes. But yeah, welcome to Raging Bull. It's worth noting that Raging Bull doesn't just bring the guns and excessive swearing to the table, it also brings its own degree of style. Those HUD elements, unmistakably 80s inflected, reminding me quite strongly of the likes of Vice City, and somewhere in there you may also notice the rage meter. This fills for every enemy you kill. When it fully spells out the word rage, you can unleash it for double weapon firing speed. But it doesn't stop there. You can double up on the meter, filling it up further till it's a full crimson red, and when you unleash ultra rage, not only do you get double the weapon firing speed, you also get double damage. In terms of pickups here, there is a whole suite of pharmaceuticals. Black Taurus, for example, replaces the Berserker pack, which will fill your rage meter outright, boost your health up to 150, and double the damage of your melee attacks. Not to mention double the rate of F-bombs too. Adrenaline will increase your speed and fire rate. Purge will basically act as a hazmat suit, but also halve all damage received. Cigar will heal you in increments of 5 up to 200%, but also reduce your rage by 5%. The Megasphere is replaced by a bottle of Jack, which gives you 200% health and armor, whereas Valhalla, nice not to max pain by the way, does the same job, but also makes you invulnerable for 30 seconds. As for the everyday pickups, Painkillers and Yayo, which is a sniffer ball if you don't recognize the name, both contribute to keeping your health topped up, whereas in the armor department, gold lighters, watches, and chains contribute to keeping you protected, which for me forms an amazing mental image of just bullets deflecting off all of this bling. But circling back around to the nuts and bolts of this particular mod, the weapons certainly don't hurt proceedings, considering they are all real damn satisfying to fire. On the lower end, you got the likes of the Beretta, which can then be changed to Berettas because akimbo for the win. The shotgun slot sees an appearance from the Italian classic that is the Spaz 12, an iconic pump-action shotgun. Just couldn't get away from the goddamn thing. It was in Terminator, it was in Jurassic Park. But all you really need to know here is it looks the part, can hold 8 shells max, and booms real nice. It's probably the weapon where you'll feel the manual reload of Raging Bull the strongest, because by default, Raging Bull features manual reload, which personally, I really like trying to get the hang of. It adds a bit more tactility to the combat, but for those of you that have a bit of a struggle with that in Doom mods, you can indeed toggle that to automatic. Either way, you gotta make sure you do a good job at timing those reload windows, and to that effect there is actually a kick ability here which can send an enemy reeling backwards and give you a bit of breathing room while you're fiddling with whatever weapon you have to hand. Super Shotgun slot features the Sawn Off, a real nice looking sprite here that absolutely thunders when fired and features pretty nice spiffy reload animation all of its own. Then we've got the inclusion of one of my favorite weapons to have in akimbo format, that being the Mag-10. Man, I just love hearing the sound of the spent brass from these things just tinkling across the floor. The China Lake grenade launcher takes up slot 5, fires with an arcing trajectory, meaning at longer distances you're gonna have to compensate, but in general explodes faces real good. Might have to keep an eye out for that 4-round capacity though, it can easily catch you off guard if doing manual reloads. Slot 6 contains the gun of the hour, that of course being the M16, the only friend you'll ever need. admirable degree of damage dealing to go along for the fire rate, and an underbarrel grenade launcher to boot. Needs to be reloaded for every grenade used, however, so it might be worth swapping out back to the old China Lake if you're planning on keeping things explosive. Next we got the PSG-1 sniper rifle, great for long range, features scoped in zoom, holds 10 rounds, and features a fire rate much faster than you may initially imagine. And finally, we have the M60. When I think of the M60, I think of Rambo. I think of a man just holding down the trigger and utterly laying waste to everything before him. And happily, that is a sensation that Raging Bull here admirably replicates. Seriously, sometimes the only thing that stops me from firing this weapon is the fact that I run out of bullets. Believe it or not, there's also a gold-plated Colt Python revolver in here somewhere. Didn't really trigger the conditions to get it during the course of average gameplay, but apparently more powerful than the standard Berettas, as well as boasting a higher degree of accuracy, but in practice, the satisfaction just wasn't on par with the John Woo fantasy of having a Beretta in each hand. Honorable mention to the fists, those get a good shoe-in when you're using the Black Taurus power-up. And yes, the chainsaw does indeed make an appearance here, and I gotta say I'm a fan of the animation when you use it. Rather than just kind of jabbing it forward into enemies, you just wildly slash at them with it instead. If there's one other touch to Raging Bull that I just absolutely comprehensively love, it's the fact that when you die, it fades to black and actually rolls credits, replicating in its own particular way the ending of Scarface itself, even with the same soundtrack playing in the background. Ultimately though, if I were to describe Raging Bull with a single word, that would be cathartic. There is absolutely a raw satisfaction to the gameplay here, which comes about by virtue of not just the weaponry, but also the attitude of the character wielding them. You get swept up in that rage. You feel the blood pumping as you tear into yet another crowd of demons, and by God is Raging Bull just a heck of a lot of fun. Definitely the type of gameplay mod I'd recommend to anyone who's had a crappy day, month, or even year. Raging Bull will be there for you, and it will be yelling expletives the entire goddamn time. If you're interested in giving Raging Bull a whirl for yourself, the link, as usual, can be found in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this here video and you're feeling generous, why not throw some coin in the direction of my Patreon? From $1 a month, you can get early access to upcoming videos when available, as well as being part of this esteemed list of names you now see scrolling up the screen. Regardless, however, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments, and feel free to suggest any mods you'd like to see me cover in future editions of Mod Madness. Until next time, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.